Welcome back to Americana Outdoors. Now, if you're just joining us, this episode is all about archery, and we're showcasing the Cabela's Instigator, one of the models in Cabela's lineup of bows made by Bowtech. Earlier in the show, we caught up with Wade Middleton at one of the Cabela's retail stores, where he went to get his bow set up and fitted. And that's where we'll pick it up.
You know, archery is something that you really need to be set up. You need to be fitted properly. You need to find tools that match your skills, your abilities, so that you can be successful when it comes to time to take that shot.
Well, I like it. I mean, I think this thing shooting, it didn't take us any time to get it where we were dialed in. So.
Back at hunting camp with his Cabela's Regulator Bow in hand, Wade heads to the field in search of whitetail. Now, the Regulator is the next step up in the Cabela series of bows. It's a little faster and packs more power.
A lot of different spots so far this early season. It's been 10 hours up in a tree. It's been several different hunts down on pop-ups. Had some encounters. It's pretty typical in your early season. A lot of these encounters have been right in the dark. Probably could have taken a couple of those shots. One of them I'm still kind of kicking myself for, but we're just going to rotate around hunting some of these stands that are in different spots. Tonight we're going to a little bit of wind that's kind of coming up over this ridge. A lot of these deer are starting to really hit some of the acorns. They're starting to make some early scrapes. So we're going to set up in this ground blind. As you can see, this blind here has really got a lot of brush. Just a few 2x4s and the cover is really, really good for a ground blind. It's not as obtrusive as a pop-up blind. And the scouting cameras, there's 2 or 3 good deer that have been showing up here. We haven't come and hit this spot yet, and it seems like so far this year is pretty typical when you do an early season hunt, your first time in. That's when you've had your best encounter. So there's a big 8-point, a couple big 8-points really showing up on scouting camera, and if one of those guys shows up, hopefully we can try and get a shot.
It's mid-October, and in South Texas that usually means it's still hot. During the warm afternoons, the whitetail have been inactive, bedding down in the shade. But with the arrival of the season's first cool front, deer activity is on the increase, and Wade's hoping to take advantage of that with this season's first harvest.
You know, bow hunting's an all different monster when it comes to how you hunt, the clothing that you wear, how you set up, your scent control. There's so many things to keep in mind when you go on a bow hunt that a rifle hunter doesn't necessarily have to think about as in depth. That doesn't mean you've got to not practice those things as a rifle hunter, because you absolutely do. But the reality of it is, if you're looking at hunting scenarios where game are going to be inside of 20 yards versus 100 yards, your scent control may not be as quite as important in some situations. How you move and the clothes you wear may not be quite as important. So those are things that people learn the hard way.
Coming up, with whitetail in all directions, Wade gets a shot at the season's first buck. We'll be right back with more from Americana Outdoors. Welcome back to Hunting Camp. This week we're taking an in-depth look at bow hunting, and we're on the field with Wade Middleton. Now, it's early in the season and hunting has been difficult, but a change in the weather has increased whitetail activity, and with a little patience, Wade just might get a shot. Now, after sitting for most of the afternoon, it was the last hour of the day, and the once empty field was now a hive of activity. With a handful of young bucks milling about just outside of bow range, Wade is looking for something a bit older. And turning to his right, Wade found just what he was looking for: a big, wide, mature 8-point.
Smoked him. Smoked that sucker right there. I love to shoot mature deer. You know, we have spent a lot of time this year up in the stands and seen a lot of young bucks. And, you know, there's times you get really tempted, but I like to wait the patience on the big ones like that, them older deer like that. That deer there is probably 6, 7 years old, big old wide 8-point just outside his ears. Whew. This is the first time all year I've actually got to wear a sweatshirt. You know, the other 2,700 sets, it seems like I've been 90 plus degrees wearing the lightweight Cabela's gear. And this morning it's down about 53. And you know, the movement's a lot better. We're seeing a lot of scrapes and everything. I'll actually walk you around and show you. The deer in the last 2 weeks have started scraping and licking, and you can just see the progression as it's getting closer to the good time. You can't kill them sitting at home, no matter how hot it is in the early part of the year. Heck yeah. Heck yeah, look right there. You can see his antlers right there. That deer, that's only about 50 yards right there. That's awesome. You know, we have spent a lot of time this year up in the stands early on. Finally got one to come in during some of our morning times that was mature. Look at this big old wide guy here. I have seen some bigger bucks on this hunt, but every time it has been late in the evening and could not get them into range out there. This guy here is really an old buck right here. I mean, he's well outside of his ears, just a good standard old 8-point. Great little bow kill. Great little bow kill. That was too fun. He broke something off right there, or he didn't even grow it. I'm not really sure on his main beam. That was too fun.
You know, pieces of advice I always have when it comes to archery hunting is know your limitations first off. Know what you can and can't do. You know, if you're not comfortable shooting past 20 yards, then set your hunting scenarios up where your shots should be inside of 20 yards. Don't put yourself in places you're going to be tempted to take shots that are gonna lead to misses, that are gonna lead to things that are gonna go wrong. So set up your hunting scenarios to match your skills. Secondly, practice. That's very important. You know, whether it's 1 arrow a day like some guys do or 25 in a week, it's just whatever fits your schedule. But spend some time out practicing and find the form that matches for you. You know, talk to some of your buddies, do some research online. Obviously, lean on places like your Cabela's archery department to find out different anchor points that people use. Everybody, I've noticed, and when I go to a hunting camp, when we're all out shooting, everybody has a little different technique, a little different thing that they tend to do when it comes to all their anchor points. But those anchor points are something that are so important, and practice them. So when it comes time to draw that bow on a buck or a doe or whatever it is you're hunting, it's so natural that everything just happens and you don't think about all of those things. You only think about where that arrow's going to strike.